Too fast, too furious, too fast. Welcome to hello.
Is that how we start now? How long have I been gone?
Hello. Hello, hi, hello, and welcome to episode 149. I didn't change the number again of the GameBrew Podcast.
So it's actually 149.
It is 149. It says 147, but it's 149. Episode 149 of the GameBrew Podcast, the mostly bi-weekly video game podcast where we sip delicious bevs, discuss video games, and just freaking pay the writers more money already. Do you remember what happened to Heroes? Do you remember what happened to Heroes?
But we did get Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog from that.
That shouldn't be that's not a reason to have a writer's strike. Pay the writers more. It was pretty cool, but pay the writers more money. We don't want to have another season 3 of Heroes. We don't want that.
I agree, but also, is that a dig because you write the script that we were just talking about?
Oh, God, you're right. See you guys. Bye.
Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, oh, wait, this is convenient.
I'm not a scab. Get out of here. No, podcasts are one of the only things that we can do with while still saying, hey, support the writer's strike. But on this episode of the GameBrew Podcast, we're going to... I'm sorry. First, who are we? I'm Dan.
I'm whoever?
No, that's only when we do the...
right. Okay, I'm Chris.
Yeah.
I'm Allison.
Yay!
And in case anyone forgot.
We couldn't forget.
On this episode of the GameBrew Podcast, we asked the question, is it a good thing that Microsoft wants to buy Activision Blizzard? I know the question is always a yes or no question. I realize that I do that. It's like we could easily just be like, yeah, end of podcast. There we go. Maybe. That's the answer we usually have. But this is a bevs and
we're very, very non-committal
and video games podcast. So we're going to talk about the bevs first. Because first it's time for a bev. Chris, what are you drinking this week?
I'm drinking Cerveza Modelo Cheladas. So like they have a line of micheladas.
Oh yeah.
Remember when we did that? Like we made our own.
Yeah, we made our own.
That was at least 4 years ago because I was in my apartment back then.
Oh my God, that was 4 years ago.
Yeah. So
we've been doing this for so long. Allison, you weren't here, but last time, but we reminisced and we were just like, oh shit. Technically, we've been doing this for 6 years now because we missed the anniversary.
Yeah,
so
we've been doing it a while.
The podcast has existed for 6 years.
That's amazing.
It's pretty cool. And we see all these other people starting podcasts, and we're like, oh, we're on our 149th episode.
Do you feel like the cool kids who started it all?
Well, we're like that underground emo group that started like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like part of the emo trend before emo was a thing, and like,
right.
We're a deep cut. I think.
Are you comparing us to the Smiths? Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
I think like maybe the Smiths' friends who had a band.
Got it. So
yeah,
the Smiths, we're like, it was like we're the Smurfs, and it's like, damn it, theirs is better.
And I do want to point out, have you watched Dirty Laundry on Dropout TV?
I have, yes.
They do the exact same thing. I'm pretty sure they copied us when they were like, "Hey, Grant, what are we drinking today?" True.
But that's
I am going to go sue for copyright infringement, guys.
I'm not going to
this is what. No, we're going to do it. We need the money.
No,
you know what we could do with that money?
They're Matt Mercer adjacent. Listen,
here. I'm going to sue you until I get to meet Brennan.
No, that was that one girl who did. Do you remember?
We could just make our own stipulation.
Oh, with Grant?
No, not that. But do you remember there was like some girl whenever Exandria Unlimited came out, she was like she's like a content creator of some kind, but she was just like this person stole my character and she tried to sue them. And then she was like I want to sue you, but you have to let me come on your show. It's like, the heck's wrong with you?
That's not how this works.
I'm not gonna do that.
Anyways, so I'm drinking the chelada from Modelo. It's a Piña Picante, so it's pineapple and spicy. And it's kind of got like a saltiness to it. So like kind of like reminiscent of those micheladas that we made before.
Mm-hmm.
And man, they're just so refreshing and so good. Like they're like you know with like Pedialyte, it's kind of sweet and salty.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, It's kind of like that, but like fizzy and a little bit of alcohol. It's only like 3.5%, but like
a little spicy. A
little spicy. It's like it's a good beach drink or like chilling at the barbecue drink. You can slam these, dude.
What is chuggability?
Chuggability is high.
High chuggability.
High chuggability. I've already almost finished one.
Oh my god. Well, that's the thing.
Quite tasty. Highly recommend. I think they might be my my favorite summer. Like not instead of doing seltzers, I'll probably do these instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Allison?
Okay, so I'm going to read from the bottle because
that's fine.
I don't know how to speak about this, but I'll start with the story. So I went to the ABC store and I was trying to get a new Kraken that I had heard had come out.
Okay, because you love Kraken.
You're a big Kraken fan.
You
enjoy summoning the Kraken, as it were.
I do. I have too many bottles on top of my fridge. I actually looked at that the other day, and I'm part of me was like, "Why am I keeping these?"
Well,
and the other part of me is because, like, since I moved, I just kind of keep them.
Okay.
And the other part of me is like, this just looks like a frat house to anybody who walks in because I enjoy Kraken.
Yeah, so I was about to say, back in the day in college, we used to drink a lot of Captain Morgan's, but every time we finished a bottle, instead of just leaving it as is, we would take a Sharpie and draw Boba Fett, so it was Boba Fett Space Rum instead of Captain Morgan Space Rum.
That's great.
So we lined the top of our
I get it.
Our place in college with those. So Boba Fett Space Rum.
See, I need to do something creative with mine because right now they're just chilling there, and I'm like, wow, this is, I guess, a choice.
Yeah, that's
I'm making.
That's my problem. Like, sometimes the only time I will save a bottle now is because it like looks cool or it's like interesting.
Right. Like I have a Virginia Kraken.
Okay.
Like a Virginia specific one that they did for like a special edition release, and I thought that was really cool. I kept the bottle. I'll bring it on next time. I don't have to run down and get it. But that's a really cool bottle, so I kept that one. And then that just kind of led to me keeping all of them. And I don't know why I'm doing that, so I should stop. But anyway, so I was looking for the special edition. I think it was like called Gold or something. And they didn't have it at the ABC store. So I was like, oh, well, do I just get another bottle of Kraken? I kind of wanted to try something different. So then I found this this Virginia bottles especially for the Virginia ABC store. And I was like, oh, well, that's cool, right? Let's try that and see if it's something different that I'm going to like. And it is awful to me.
Awful?
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's awful to me. It's probably fine to most people.
What's awful about it?
So it's Cruzan.
Okay.
Oh, and I realize this is now backwards, isn't it? Sorry, folks.
Okay. It's backwards for you, but not for us.
Nazruk.
Yes, I fought Nazruk in D&D one.
I fought a Nazruk on the plates of the ethereal abyss.
But it's a single-aged premium extra aged rum, single barrel, minimum age of 5 years. So I thought,
I mean, that's interesting. Cruzan's supposed to be decent too.
Mm-hmm. And it probably is. Maybe it's just me.
Is it just rum or is it spiced rum?
It's like a spiced rum with like really heavy citrus notes, and that's weird to me.
Okay.
So for me, it doesn't taste good. It almost is like medicinal.
Oh yeah, that's not a good. It's not a good.
Yeah.
I bet it's. Are you drinking it straight, or are you drinking it with something else?
I tried it straight first because I wanted to have like a genuine, like only this taste. And right now I have it with Coke because I'm not trying to get sloshy wasted on Sunday, although I may still because I haven't drank in a while. So this has Coke with it. And maybe like that's a bad choice too because it's Coke.
I was gonna say it sounds like it might go well with Coke, but
I don't know. It's like I prefer Kraken. I prefer Kraken so much.
Did I make you try that Havana Club that I have from Mexico when you were up here?
I don't think so. No.
Okay, next time you're here, we should do that.
Okay, I'll do that.
So it's there's two versions of it. One that's not sold in the U.S. and one that is sold in the U.S. by Bacardi. This is the one that's not sold in the U.S. and it's got like a almost like caramelly, like
that
burnt sugar flavor.
Yes,
it's
that
really
sounds
good.
good.
Like it makes some of the best rum and cokes I've ever had.
Right. Yeah. See, that sounds delicious. And I guess that's kind of what I was maybe hoping for reading this and looking at it. But yeah, it's not my jam. I'm not telling anyone else to not try it necessarily. I just think it's not to my liking.
The single barrel?
Yeah, so it's Distiller's Collection Cruzan single barrel premium extra aged rum.
So
and
according to Wikipedia,
bottled especially for Virginia ABC stores.
Because apparently it was the winner of double gold medals in the title World's Best Rum at the 2000 and 2010 San Francisco World Spirits Competition.
If this doesn't prove that I have no taste, then I don't know what does, guys. If we haven't figured it out yet, then I don't know when we'll figure it out. But I have a very specific palate, and it is for trash. And that is just how it goes.
Will Scoops was.
Get out of here, Little Scoops.
Oh.
We're talking about alcohol, and you're
Get out of
too
here,
young.
Little Scoops. Get out of here.
Yeah, so for me, it's just it's the aftertaste of this like citrusy. It's
Like,
not a good citrus.
It's not okay.
Medicinal citrus, and that is where the smell and the taste is for me, and it's not what I want. But
okay. All right.
Teach their own, and give it a shot if you want. I'm never buying it again. That's all I know.
You gotta finish it now, though. That's the
I
only
will
problem.
finish it. Like I'm halfway there, right? Look at this. Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate it. I've drank half of it, and I hate it.
I do hate it.
But I'm going to drink the other half just to make sure I really hate it.
Look, guys. So make a correction. There are two things we should know about me at this point. One, my taste is trash, and two, I will never let alcohol go to waste.
That's understandable. I mean, we open up the vodka. We got to drink it before it goes bad.
Dan, what are you drinking?
I am drinking right now. Voodoo Ranger came out with a new IPA called Fruit Force.
Yes. Yes.
Fruit Force. It's a fruit punch IPA. It is 9.5 ABV.
That's a lot of points in your ABV.
Oh, Allison, we forgot chuggability.
Oh yeah, that's a chuggability.
Is there a negative chuggability?
Yeah, it's any number you want it to be. So
great, -3 chuggability.
It's like it's lukewarm.
So you throw it up,
spat it from your mouth.
Honestly, like I haven't like it tastes like that really bad alcohol in college to me. Ooh. So yes, it's like that thing that makes me feel like I'm going to throw up later, even if I'm only drinking a little bit. It's very acidy.
Okay, yuck. Okay, but now the Fruit Force. Boy howdy. So it is 9.5% ABV. It does not taste like it's 9.5% ABV. I think because of the fruit punch flavor. Sorry, Pip. Also, hi, Pip. And Pip says this is great dinner conversation.
She knows she's getting into just anything can happen with us.
This is anything is possible. But I think the fruit punch sort of flavor that's in it just masks the alcohol. It's kind of like whenever we would make like jungle juice in college, where it's like all the sugar like masks the fact that it's just alcohol, and I'm gonna take my pants off later. I mean, it's good. It's way too chuggable. It's 9.5% ABV. On Thursday, whenever I was playing games with my brothers,
Mongoose Omelet.
I'm wearing the hat. See, hold on.
Oh, you've got a Mongoose Omelet hat.
Oh no. Oh no.
The Mongoose Omelet hat was Chris's
I flipped it around and Chris disappeared. He was like, that was
the key that sucks Chris back into the portal. Okay, there you go.
I flipped my hat around and Chris disappeared.
So mad that you got a hat, and I was so jealous. I don't know what the fuck just happened. Sorry, they're eating dinner. I don't know what happened.
R.I.P. Chris in the chat. Yes, cool. That was a cool trick. Dan, can you flip your hat and you go away again?
Let me see if it does it again. Hold on. Here we go.
That was definitely not staged and
not.
an intentional
We
click
didn't
on him.
That one may have been. Who knows?
I'll never tell. But yeah, we were playing games on Thursday, and I had 2 of these, and I was absolutely effed the next day. Like it is way too high in alcohol content to drink 2 of them. I drank 2.
So
and
you're
I
drinking
was
like 3 of those tonight, right?
No, I'm drinking 1, and then I have a bunch of Corona because I went to go see Fast 10 on Friday because
and you drink Coronas when you watch Fast 10.
Yeah, that's the whole thing is that their barbecues they always have Corona, and it's like that's what Dom's favorite drink. In Fast 6, whenever they meet Mr. Nobody says, "Oh, I love Belgian beer," and that's how he bonds with Dom. And then he's like, "You should try sometime." And Dom's like, "I don't really like the Belgian beer." And he's like, "Yeah, I know." And he hands him some Coronas because he's like, "That's what you like." Because Mr. Nobody knows everything. Boy, I could talk. Listen,
you should. I really hope somewhere there's like a Fast and the Furious trivia night, and you just dominate
everything.
Literally dominate.
I would dom Toretto innate everything. No, seriously, I went to go see 10. It was really good. Like,
what was better? What was better? Fast 10 with the D&D movie.
Well, the D&D movie, obviously, but I was pretty hyped for the D&D movie, and it was really good. I was extremely hyped for the Fast 10 movie. Like, I've been talking about this for a month. And for months, ever since I knew they were like, this is the beginning of the end. I think there's going to be, 10, 11, and 12, or it might just be 10 and 11 are going to be the last 2s. Chad, no, you can't, Chad. Did you just watch all of them in a row again to prepare for the one that just came out? Because I did.
I think we'll need to have, like, instead of the Game View podcast, we'll have a Game View trivia podcast day.
Ooh.
And we can put
I guess I'll host it because I know nothing about it.
Yeah, Chris and I'll host it. Like, I know enough to know enough.
We should do a reading of
No, that would be so long. Oh my god.
Noises.
And then we could like act it out with like little toy cars.
All the race scenes. Oh, it's not about racing anymore. Now they're just freaking superheroes in Fast 10. It's great.
Yeah. Carrie, let's see if we can get Chad set up to do this trivia night because I'll set it up. I'll make it work.
I'm in. Okay. I love trivia. I haven't done trivia in like 6 years.
But Dan, this is not a movie.
This is not a movie podcast. As we say every episode, this is not a movie podcast. This is a beer and video games podcast. The chuggability on this high shouldn't be, but it is high.
Dangerously high. Okay.
I really like the can.
The can.
Oh,
did you like my cans, Allison? Is that what you're saying? My God, that's so offensive.
That's been an aspect.
Don't say can on you. That's not what I meant.
That's an aspect of this podcast that we've been missing.
What? Me making horrible innuendos on accident? Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely. That's what the people want.
They do. They love it.
No one clip that.
Everybody clip that. But no, it's really good. Hannah hates it. I thought she would like it because of the fruit punchness.
She likes juicies, or does she not?
Well, she likes things that are like fruitier. Like she likes citruses. We went to.
Is this more fruit punch a la Kool-Aid Man, or is this more fruit punch a la like actual fruit?
No. It's like fruit punch, like Kool-Aid Man, like fruit punch. So it is not great. Like it's not a great fruit punch, but it makes me feel like a child. But also, I'm drinking beer, so eventually I'll turn into a child or like a 12-year-old.
Yeah, that's how that works.
Yeah, but she hates it. She thinks it's disgusting. But we did go to the Sly Fox Goat Race and Bach Festival a few weeks ago.
That sounded awesome.
It was really fun. It was really cool. I love Bach festivals.
I love like both kinds.
Yeah, that. Yep, and goats. I love goats, and there were goat races. So
cool.
Goats are great.
I just would like to pet the goat.
You could pet. I petted so many goats.
Oh my gosh!
They were there, and then Princess Jenny won again for the 4th year in a row. So she's their Maibach is named the Princess Jenny Maibach now.
What did she win?
So the whole reason that they have this goat race since 2000 they've been doing this. They make
goat things. Does she win goat things?
No, she went. So basically, first off, these are not like racing goats. I don't think that's a thing you can do. It's just
I would assume not.
But it is a. They have this goat race, and they're all just like people's pet goats that they enter into this race, and then the winner of the goat race, like the fastest goat, is who they name their Maibach for the year after. So for the past 4 years and this year, their Maibach is named Princess Jenny because that's who won. But I think she's retiring after this year, so next year, it will be someone different. So
interesting. She is she going to finally be Queen Jenny then?
I don't think. Well, it's not a title, you know. It's her name.
No, right. But eventually, with age, I assume she would take over as queen. I just have several questions that I'm going to write down and I'm going to send to you, and you get them to the people that need to answer them.
Yeah,
at the
because
goat races.
I have those connections.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. I'll get my questions together.
Shakes head in disagreement of.
It's video. We can see it. It's okay.
I know, but if for the future, for people who listen in their cars on the way to work,
that's true. That's true.
Drink responsibly after work. You know.
Or during work.
It depends on your work. But yeah, chuggability's high. But anyway, that's the beer stuff. This is a beer and video game podcast. So now we're going to talk about some of the video games that we've been playing. I'm going to start with Allison. Have you been playing anything?
Not particularly. So I think I'll talk instead about D&D. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah.
That's a game. That's
totally
game,
right?
acceptable.
Tell us how awful Ian is as a DM.
No, he's good as a DM.
I'm sure he's
great. We actually ended our campaign, and now we're going to start a new one. We have started the new one, but I wanted to talk about the old one first.
Did you guys do Lost Minds?
Yes.
Nice. I'm running that right now with some folks.
Tight.
Yes, so we did the first part and Minds of Phandelver, and it was great, and I enjoyed it because I've never actually gone through. So, backstory about my D&D history. Every time my friends wanted to do D&D and I've done it with them, I have never done it correctly. I've never done it by the book.
Tell me.
There's no correct way to do Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, what do you mean by how?
Like you mean just like rules, like rules?
Yeah, rules. Like they've all been like really homebrewy rules, or things they found online that weren't really like to an edition and things like that. So there are things that like I thought were true things that didn't exist in D&D. So this is really great for me because we're playing very strictly 5e. Defending. Like I thought I could take a turn to defend, like block, right? So I would get up to my AC. That was a thing that like my friends created that doesn't actually exist in the game.
I feel like in 3.5 that was a thing.
Yeah, I think that was an earlier version thing, but
maybe that's why I don't know. And like so I tried to mention that like in this campaign I was like I'm just going to defend, and nobody understood what I was trying to say.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Right.
I mean, you can choose the dodge action, which makes it so they have to use, hit you at disadvantage.
Correct.
But yeah.
But for what I was trying to do, it just wasn't a real thing. And so I'm learning now how to actually by the book play 5e D&D, which it was really great for me. And I've never seen anyone play a druid before, and I played a druid. So that was a really good experience. And it sucks because like I feel like I didn't really actually understand my character till the end. And by the time I understood it, it was over.
I think that's the hard part about being a Dungeons and Dragons player is that unless you are super seasoned, it's hard to like get into the like understanding of everything. I'm DMing some newbies right now, and it is like it is a lot of like, oh, remember that you have this, and then that's a good thing to do. Why? Well, because that's you have that, and other people don't have that. You know. It's like, especially clerics and druids.
Oh man, clerics can do so many things.
Yes.
So many things. And I think I actually haven't done a druid yet, but I feel like they're like they have so many spells they can do.
Yeah, I played a cleric most of the time. I know, shocker for me.
Oh,
but
Allison, a healer?
I know.
Sense. But
I played
also,
a cleric
like,
and a
do
ranger.
So much damage.
They can't.
Yeah, they do a lot
so
more
much
damage than people realize.
Like they do
like spells are powerful.
Oh yeah, like spiritual weapons great, and then guardian spirits. Yeah, guardian spirits.
Which Carrie was in our campaign, by the way. I know she's in the chat.
Hard.
She's here. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can add anything you want, Carrie. I know you're eating, so but like from my perspective, it was just really nice to kind of go from the beginning of what the like core game was built on with the core rules and just kind of experience that and get a feel for it. So that
campaign is just incredible. It's so well written.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It gives you everything. For
sure. And I feel like we definitely threw some weirdness at Ian that he had to figure out how to.
Nice.
What's the wildest thing that happened that you had to make Ian like do on the fly?
Oh, that's a really good question. Carrie, what do you feel like it is? I'm trying to think. The wildest thing. So one of the characters, Ian's brother. I don't know if I can drop his name. Yeah, I was like, can I drop his name? Is that good?
Friend
okay,
of the podcast.
Joel. Yes, for sure. But Joel, he had a character, and we didn't know the whole time. But he was like feeding us mushrooms that were placebos, to like test us on things. And I have no idea how he worked that out with Ian and like what exactly was happening there. But like we had no idea the whole time. We thought they were healing mushrooms, right? So somehow Ian had to make that work and make that make sense to what was going on when he kept giving us mushrooms. And like we thought he was healing us. And I guess
put this in your mouth.
I wonder if it was like a modified version of good berries or
Goodberry.
something.
It totally wasn't.
Great.
It did nothing.
It's just a placebo.
Like,
it was just
like it technically did nothing, but he would be like, eat this mushroom. And so at some point he wanted to get these mushrooms that like clearly you weren't supposed to get. Like there were just some mushrooms in the cave towards the end and they damaged a lot. And Joel wanted to take them. And so he like nearly killed us basically trying to get these mushrooms. And
I applaud the commitment to character.
Yes, it was a great commitment to character, and it was so dumb. It was just so dumb. Luckily, we did not die. But
that Lord of the Rings chapter would be called The Long Cut to Mushrooms.
Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, and at some point we turned like the enemies invisible on accident. So that was something Ian had to work with. And there was a situation where like where Marianne, I think, wanted to shoot some arrows with a rope and do some cool stuff. And he had to kind of figure out how that was going to work in the battle we were in. And it ended up like saving us in a weird way. But like then we had like two monsters attached to each other with this rope. So one would pull one. And like he had to kind of like work that out through the whole thing.
Opposing strength checks either way.
Yeah. And somebody tried to use the wand that wasn't attuned. That's how things turned, or we turned people invisible and stuff. Like, it was just like, it was a lot of chaos.
I love it.
Sounds like D&D.
It was good.
I still love telling the people about the time our cleric fell asleep, like for real, over our Zoom session of D&D. Like he actually fell asleep. So we had to build in that his character had narcolepsy. Because he would always fall asleep during our D&D session. So at some point, if he fell asleep, then that meant his character fell asleep. And so you had to like carry him with him. And they defeated the boss because he got hit with a spell, like his narcolepsy in the middle of a boss battle. And then a giant scorpion he summoned was just running amok because he was asleep and couldn't control it.
I think I thought of what I think the best, weirdest thing we had to have Ian deal with was, so we fell in love with an NPC.
Of course.
Like we just
which one?
As you do. Jarnathan? Was it Jarnathan?
No.
Jarnathan.
No, it was a bugbear. It was a bugbear. And we named him.
Was it the one in the first cave?
Which cave was it? I don't remember. Carrie can answer. Her memory's better than mine.
Cragmaw.
Cragmaw
Cave.
Yeah, it was Cragmaw. It was Cragmaw because it was
like,
very early.
First, like boss.
Yeah. Yes. So we interacted. I don't even remember how it started. Where we had a conversation with the bugbear rather than fighting him. I think it was our rogue's fault. Carrie, do you remember? So we ended up like talking to the bugbear instead of fighting it. And
that's like
we found out
you two.
I broke down the door. He was yelling help. Oh, that's right. That's right. He was trying to fake being a victim and yelling help. And so we came in and then we like talked to him like we were trying to help him. And we rolled great conversation so that the bugbear opened up to us and told us about how he actually wanted to be a poet. And he didn't want this life and all this stuff.
His name Clark?
No, it was Florp.
Okay, so it sounds like Ian changed some things up, but that's all.
He probably had to figure this out on the fly too. This could be a character we pulled out of left field. Yeah. So he was just like he told us about this, and we were like, follow your dreams, Florp. Like, do it. Like, get out of here. Just go. And so anyway, we don't kill Florp. And then Florp tells us this beautiful poem, and we think about Florp often. And then he comes back into a battle later, and he's like back in the thick of it at the end of this big group of bugbears at the end. And I figure out it's Florp. Like I've wild shaped and I'm gone to the back, and like this one bugbear just like doesn't want to do it, and I sense it, and I'm like, no, is it? And so I unshift and I talk to Florp, and sure enough it is. And I tell him to leave. I'm like, Florp, we don't want to hurt you. Go, like do the best you can. Just go pursue acting. And so he leaves. So yeah, that's perfect. And we had to, at the end, like Ian let us pick an NPC he would give the ending for. And obviously we all picked Florp. So he gave like what Florp had done. And yeah, anyway, Florp was the best. He was our favorite character, and we kept like at some point it ended up making like our whole team start reciting poetry to enemies. Like that was going to help us as a distraction. That was all Joel. It was great. I don't know what he was doing. We just had to roll with it. Surprising. It was surprising. Joel was amazing. He shocked me in this campaign. He did awesome. I hope he hears this podcast and his ego gets too big.
Listen, when Joel and I used to play a GTA 5 online together all the time, and he's a creative son of a gun. Like that was great. Whenever I got the creative side of him. I did not expect.
Awesome. He did awesome. So yeah, I think that was the weirdest, most drawn out thing we made him do the whole time.
If you've ever listened to the Adventure Zone, the McElroy brothers do D&D with their dad of my brother and me, and they do the Lost Mines of Phandelver, and they meet Clark the bugbear in the cave, and I'm like 100% sure 3 out of 4 people who ever go into that always try and make friends with Clark the bugbear, because they like cast friends on him, say give us the thing, and then they leave, and like in the best like storytelling ever, it's just like as they're leaving the cave from far away, they just hear fuck because it like wore off, and he remembered that he was like, oh,
yeah,
damn.
He realizes they cast friends on him.
Yeah, I think this was just a random one that we found.
A random guy. So. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. Very good.
He's our favorite.
Please keep playing D&D, and also make your own rules. Right now, I'm running a D&D game where it's like a video game world, so everything's they have they don't need a bag of holding because they have bottomless inventories. They can just put whatever the hell they want into, as long as they have written down that's in their inventory. That's the only crux. I'm not keeping track of it. So it's like if you want to put a whole table in your inventory, you can do it. You just have to make sure that you write in your inventory table. It's
very very much
yes, dungeon crawler
Carl.
Yeah. The whole...
our next campaign is going to be totally different. Like we're doing like a homebrewy, like horror themed.
We need to make sure Ian's watched Never After.
Oh, he would like that.
Yeah. Anyways, I just don't have the time to do a homebrew like that. It's so much easier to
It's,
DM.
it's a lot. It's a
Honestly,
lot.
honestly
modules.
though, to be as the resident like daddy master, dungeon daddy, forever DM, I will say homebrewing something for me is less stressful than trying to remember things that are like written in the book.
Interesting.
It's because like I've created it, so I know it,
Sure.
versus like trying to read it and remember stuff.
Sure. I guess with this, it's like from what I've done, it's just a lot easier to like. Usually they have it written out so that like it's very easy to remember things as long
Yeah.
as you kind of read through it. But
No, they
that's
do.
just me.
It's
Also, I'm
true.
kind of like stuck, and maybe I need to talk to you later about stuff. But like I've got some writer's block with one of my campaigns, or maybe I just need to let shit happen. I don't know. Anyways,
Let it happen.
What have you been playing?
Me? Oh god. Yeah. So let's see.
We spent 45 minutes on this podcast so far. I just want to point that
That's
out.
okay. Listen, this is what happens whenever we do the podcast is we are best friends.
Yep.
I have seen 3 pretty best friends, and it's us. So I've been playing some stuff. Jedi Survivor, still playing it. Still fun.
On PS5.
On PS5.
Mhm.
A lot of the bugs have been fixed, as
The bugs and the bugbears.
and there are no bugbears. There are bugs in it though, space bugs.
Are they
still
bears?
fun, still a Jedi lightsaber-y thing. It is very cool because you have 5 different stances of lightsaber. I will say like everyone kind of has their favorites because you have single-bladed lightsaber, you have double-bladed lightsaber, you have 2 lightsabers, and then you also
like
get
Ahsoka Tano style.
kind of. It's like you have a lights. It's like a double-bladed lightsaber, but you can like kind of unhook it and then like do some stuff. It's pretty cool. And then you also have lightsaber and blaster pistol, which is like what I use. And then they also have the crossguard lightsaber. So it's like the one that Kylo Ren. Yeah. So it's longer and more powerful. So it's very like it's like you have a broad sword.
Like a claymore. A broadsword.
Yeah. So very fun. The story's great. I just love Star Wars. I could talk forever about Star Wars.
Star Wars is pretty great.
Yeah. But I'm not gonna. I have been playing Honkai Star Rail, which is the
Honkai Star Rail.
Honkai Star Rail. It's the new game.
That's what I said.
It's the new game by Hoyoverse, who did Genshin Impact.
Okay.
And so this is their new one. That's like it's more of a like turn-based sort of RPG thing, but it's like with gacha elements. I got my brother to start playing it too. And he was just like, yeah, Dan, I started playing that anime babes game with the space train, and I was like, nice. Which is basically what it is. But that's really fun. Apparently there was like a whole team of competitive gaming people who got kicked off a tournament because they wouldn't stop playing Honkai Star Rail.
That's awesome.
I forget which one it was, but they were like they wouldn't stop playing it in between rounds, and they were like, "Guys, you have to stop so we can do the tournament." They're like, "Just let us play." They're like, "No, you're gone." So they kicked him out. But I did get Tears of the Kingdom. Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. I do have that as well.
And
boy, they were just like, okay, how do we did all the stuff with the moving metal things and the ice blocks and all that before. How do we do that again? They were like, oh, we let you build stuff and we give you developer tools. So that's basically
it's like Super Mario Builder.
I mean, it kind of. There's like one thing you get that lets you, if you're in like a cave or something, it lets you shoot up through the ground up to the upper level of it. Or like if there's a block above you, it lets you like shoot up, you swim through the solid objects, you pop out on the top. You also put a bunch of stuff together to build giant long bridges or structures. If you go onto TikTok or the internet, you can see some of the stuff that people have built in Tears of the Kingdom. There was someone who made a fully functioning armored APC vehicle to drive around Hyrule.
That's awesome.
And they're just doing it. It's crazy, but it's really fun. The voice acting is great.
Matt Mercer's great.
You honestly don't get to hear a lot of Matt Mercer in the beginning. I still have a ways to go. It's huge. Again, it's huge. It's Legend of Zelda.
It's Star Wars.
And it's not Star Wars. I just got real scared, but it's just Hannah coming. I thought someone was walking out. But yeah, I mean, it's great. I've so much to talk about it with, but I'm not going to do it right now. But it's like, I'm going to keep playing it more, but it is like things in the world of Breath of the Wild. Like, it's been some years, so like things progress. There's like people who were little baby people before are now like, teenagers. There's like characters who were like look a little bit different just because they're older. Beetle's still around.
But is it the same Beetle?
It's the same Beetle. He's never changed. He is timeless because he's been around since Wind Waker. So
yeah, I know. I love Beetle.
He's immortal. Beetle's immortal. You can't kill him.
Yep.
But yeah, that's what I've been doing. Spending all my time with those big open world games that suck up all my time, so it takes forever to play anything or do anything in.
Yeah, and like I feel like I'm gonna get there eventually. I just I liked Breath of the Wild, but like
Careful.
I just got so tired.
Careful.
Of having to pick up new weapons and then throw them away, and then pick up new weapons and then throw them away, and then pick them up like that. That didn't feel great to me, and it's going to be more of the same. And I'm not sure if I really want to, but like I love Zelda, so like I want to
do it.
I want to do it.
Do it,
Chris.
Yeah,
I am 100% with you on that. Yeah, I definitely I felt the same way about the weapon situation. Things that break so easily.
Like that really
and
bummed
quickly,
me out. Like
in a game, it's like it feels like everything I'm holding is useless.
Yeah, and then you don't want to use like your good stuff because then it'll break.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
so
like,
then I just never use them.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then I'm just hurting myself in the game, right? And I'm just not having a fun experience because I'm too worried about breaking weapons. Is that my anxiety? I don't know, but I felt the same way in Breath of the Wild.
There is a new mechanic in the game. Your weapons still break, but there is now like a combination mechanic that you can use. So like sometimes you'll pick up a stick and then you'll pick up like a bokoblin horn, and
is it Bokoblin or Bokoblin?
I think it's bokoblin, if I'm not mistaken.
Like it's supposed to be of you.
But it is like where you get like a stick and then you can combine them and it makes them more powerful. Like it's like a bokoblin sword.
It's like a better stick.
Yeah, it's a stick that's more powerful and like can do stuff. And then there's also like a you can do the same thing with like arrows. You can attach stuff to and shoot it. So it is very interesting. It's honestly, it's like they were just like, remember how the last game was like a sandbox? Guess what? We added way more sand.
It's a little more sandy.
It's more sandy, and there's more like tools.
There are more boxes.
There's more boxes.
More sand, more boxes.
So it's very cool. Hannah, do you want to show them your new tattoo that you got?
Oh, she get the Tenacious D tattoo?
She didn't get the Tenacious D tattoo.
Oh.
No. She got this. It looks like it's a. Oh, let me get close. It's a mushroom with a little snail on it. Look at that little snail.
Oh, look at that snail. That's cool.
He's very cute.
That's awesome.
Super cool, yeah.
And then she also got this one. It's a fortune cookie that says "Get Lost" on it.
That's cute. I love that.
That's great. Yeah.
And you can take that "Get Lost" to either be like "Get Lost," like travel, or like "Get Lost."
No, I assume it's aggressive. It's an aggressive.
I read it as aggressive, but I can see it as like it's like adventures out there.
But anyway, Chris, what are you playing?
So I've been doing well. So I was playing Diablo 2 remastered for a little bit, or resurrected, or whatever the hell they called it.
Yep.
And then the ladder finished for that. So I was like, well, I don't know if I really feel like going and doing the ladder again immediately. So been doing a little bit of Path of Exile, which I think also just came out with a pretty big update, and it's fun. I mean, especially because it's free. It's really fun. It's I didn't like their system at first, so in Path of Exile, all of your skills are tied to the gems that you put into your weapons.
Right, I remember that from it.
Which I think at first didn't like, but now I do like it, and I think it's like I think the system they have. I don't know if it's evolved or if I have evolved to enjoy it more, but
Your brain has
it's
grown.
yeah, it's a cool system, and it makes it so there's like builds are different, you know, and like their skill tree is very much like I think Final Fantasy X, where it's
all
very
the different little,
like just huge,
yeah.
and like it's kind of like that, and it's cool, and basically like different classes just start on different sections of the same skill tree, so
cool.
it's pretty neat. So I've been playing a little bit of that. When I was having some anxiety about my parents selling their house, I did something easy and just did some PC building simulator, which was a nice kind of relaxing thing.
Yep.
And like basically people have computers, there's something wrong with them, you have to diagnose them, fix them, pull the shit out, and it's very much like stuff that I know how to do, and so it was just kind of like nice to kind of get lost in that a little bit.
Zen. It's a zen experience for you.
Yeah. Finishing up a campaign in Victoria 3 right now, which I've talked about before, and then I also picked up this game called Ultimate General's Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a game before that called Ultimate General's Gettysburg, which is just the Battle of Gettysburg, and like there's some different options based on how you do to fight like the next battle in it, and you get to choose what that looks like. And it's very reminiscent of a game that I used to play growing up called Sid Meier's Gettysburg, which was like from the 90s. Same Sid Meier's as Civilization.
Gotcha. Right.
And so I was like enjoying that, and I was like, well, I kind of wish there was a little more flexibility and like it was like a little more zoomed out. And then lo and behold, there's Ultimate General Civil War, which is exactly that.
Nice.
So basically you can do a campaign where you create your own general, and you start at the beginning of the war, and you can like basically like level them up. You can get more money, more troops, more influence to like build your army basically, and like do these famous battles. And it's I don't know, I think it's pretty cool. It's not as polished as like Total War, but it's it's from an indie studio, so it's not going to be
nice.
But it's fun. I like it.
That's very cool.
Keep playing it.
Yeah, keep us in the updates with RTS in RTS land, because you're our resident RTS, our resident.
That's
totally
the only reason I'm here.
Sexy RTS man. You're our RTS man.
RTS, yes.
RTS. Ertz. Ooh, Ertz. But I don't know what's wrong with me. Skirt on that skirt. But we've talked.
Now let's get to the meat of the episode.
Let's go to the meat of the episode, which probably won't be the meat of the
episode. All right,
episode.
we have 3 minutes, so I'm kidding.
I mean, do we want to save this, or do we just want to talk about it real quick, or what do you want to do?
I mean, we can talk about it and like cut our game time short a little bit.
Let's talk about it and see what happens.
Okay.
Because who knows? It could be a short. This could just be an update on what is happening. So, speaking of the stuff we're going to talk about, so Microsoft, you know the company.
The company famous for Windows Vista.
They're a really small indie company.
Tiny indie
company.
So they have been trying to purchase Activision Blizzard for a while, because Microsoft.
It has been a while. This is not news.
It's not news. They have been doing it for a while. The news part of it comes at the end. But for those for the uninitiated, for those who don't know exactly what happened, so Microsoft, in sort of their bid to continue buying things to bolster their cloud gaming / game streaming
I saw it more as them trying to get more in-house studios to compete with Sony's first-party titles.
That is a valid point, I think
that may be like what they're billing it as, but I think the concern lies in like the cloud gaming and a couple other things. So
well, which is funny because we'll go through. So basically, they want to buy Activision Blizzard, right? Whenever they do that, there are a lot of people who don't want that to happen, and those people are the CMA, which stands for the something
Country Music Awards.
The Country Music.
they're very into
They do not want this to happen.
They were just like,
particular merger.
what is happening?
They're like Dolly Parton made a rock album. We don't know what's happening, and this can't happen either.
It is the Competition and Markets Authority in the UK, and from America, the FTC, want to legally block this deal from happening. Like Activision Blizzard are in, Microsoft are in. It's everyone else who is just.
Is the FTC blocking it?
They plan to. They haven't gotten to that step yet.
So basically,
and I know the UK blocked it, but the EU did not.
Yeah, so basically, in order to approve this merger, everyone has to be involved because of the big fancy word with the little man in the hat, monopoly.
Right.
So
right.
Everyone has to, everywhere basically has to be involved with saying, no, this is okay with us, because Microsoft is. I mean, does this make them a monopoly? They basically already.
Not really, and that's kind of
so. Yeah, Go ahead.
That's where that's as Shakespeare would say, there's the rub. It doesn't really make them a monopoly because they're not taking it from anything, and that's kind of their and that's their argument for stuff. Microsoft really wants to do it. A lot of the stuff they've been saying is really, honestly, seems very appealing to like me as a person who consumes games. One of the big things is they're very pro-union. And with Activision Blizzard's kind of problems with stuff, that's a big thing that they would like. A lot of workers would love to happen. On January 6th, they ran an ad about really talking about that. And then Sony started to submit I guess lawsuits or subpoenas would be what it is, but basically saying no, because if they do that, they're going to take Call of Duty, and then that's necessary for those. Like, that's such a big game for us and for everyone that they can't do that. Like,
and they've said they gave a 10-year window.
Well, they gave Nintendo a 10-year. They gave them a contract saying, we're going to 10 years. You will be like, this is guaranteeing that you'll have Call of Duty on Nintendo consoles for 10 years. And they gave. I thought they gave
that to Sony too.
Oh, they did, but Sony was like, no, we don't want. No, it's like they're still like anti.
I mean, but like at that point, like 10 years, you could develop your own IP that could be as good or better than that. Like, that's plenty of time to and obviously, like, it doesn't have the legacy feel of Call of Duty, but like,
I would argue, name one other game that is similar to Call of Duty that has the financials and.
Well, Battlefield did. So
it's it's the longevity piece of what that series has that nothing can compete with. Nothing can last with the numbers that Call of Duty has as long. So Sony doesn't want to release that. And I mean, okay, I'm a data girl too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at that from like a data perspective.
Yeah.
And
so no, Allison, let Allison keep.
No, it's okay. I don't want to interrupt him if he's going to keep with Call of Duty. Go for it.
Well, I wasn't. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. No. All I was going to say is like the counterpoint to like saying they're not a monopoly. I think what you have to look at is like the markets that Microsoft is in. Like, they're in so many separate pieces of the market, right? So can you honestly say they're not monopolizing certain parts of the market that they're in? Like, as a company as a whole, maybe not.
I mean, they're not.
But when it comes to things like computers and gaming,
they're not.
Data wise with cloud services.
Azure is not as big as AWS.
They're jumping as far as their market share.
Compared to AWS?
So in 2021, Microsoft's market share was between 20 and 30%. But in
for what market?
The data that I got was in an article that said it's via xCloud, Microsoft's market shares was between 20 and 30%. And then in 2022, it jumped to 60 to 70%. And that's where the concern comes in with all of the countries that are blocking them. They don't care about the whole Call of Duty thing, if I'm being honest, when
they really don't.
It.
They really don't.
So I'm looking at something from Statista that shows AWS has 32% of the cloud market. Azure has 23%. That's Azure is Microsoft's answer to AWS. Then Google Cloud is 10%.
Right. Now that's from the business. That's like the business cloud stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
this is just gaming.
I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about
no, sorry.
Microsoft as a whole.
Yeah, no. Gaming and cloud is what I was talking about.
Yeah, it's literally and it is honestly like this is a very like 2020 up like sort of business talk where cloud gaming is its own category, where it is like there are like because there's gaming stuff, right? But then there's like the cloud gaming. But most recently, which the whole reason we're talking about this because they had a meeting in the EU with European Union with them, Nvidia was there and Sony, and they were there to talk about like the acquisition and what their plans were. And the European Union approved the deal. They said that's fine. Like this is great. They said that the commitments offered by Microsoft in support of the deal represented a significant improvement for cloud gaming as compared to the current situation. And in fact, that was like Nvidia is kind of on board now because they were boost their Nvidia, not the Shield. What's it called? Nvidia GeForce Now, which if you have a Nvidia graphics card, it's like the things that pop up all the time. Where it's like, hey, you could do that. You could do clouds. You
can, but you won't.
You won't, but you can.
Right. I mean, like Stadia actively pointed at Microsoft for their downfall, almost.
Yeah.
Because they said they couldn't.
No, Stadia didn't work because Google didn't support it correctly.
Well, but
they are saying that the reason they couldn't support it correctly was a lot of the issues they had with Linux and gaming functionality and Microsoft holding basically all of that.
Right.
And making it very difficult for them.
And that's kind of where this is messy, is because it's hard to, and Pip said like in the chat, just a monopoly is when they are the only company that does something and doesn't allow other people to do it. And that's what Sony's trying to argue is what's happening. And what the FTC and CMA are both trying to say, like what, like they're like putting in subpoenas and stuff ahead of time before any of this, like any of the legal battles actually start, just because it's going to happen. Like they see it's going, like the acquisition is more than likely going to happen, but they're putting all these lawsuits in to try and stop it from happening.
Right, because when they grab such a big powerhouse like Blizzard Activision, then they're getting so much more of the pie that they already have technically when it comes to cloud gaming, that it's just they're going to push so many more people out of being able to compete. That's where the monopoly comes in, which I think will happen. I do think it will happen. I'm not sure it won't happen if this doesn't happen, if I'm being frank.
I think
you're frank.
I'm frank. I'm just being frank right now.
I'm gonna be frank. Okay, can I still be Garth? It's one of my favorite lines from Wayne's World. Wayne's World 2? Wayne's World. Wayne's World 2.
I can't remember.
But and that kind of is the big question, and that's what Microsoft keeps touting is that no, they keep saying no because their argument is a big one, and it is kind of a very like dependent argument. Everyone's argument is like, oh well, you're going to have all these IPs, you're going to take them off of all of our platforms, and that's what we don't want to happen. But Microsoft is like, we're not going to do that.
But like, also, Sony has all these IPs that they don't allow on Xbox anyway. So, like,
which is why it's also like it's a double-edged sword. It's like and that's what Microsoft comes back with. Microsoft subpoenaed Sony, saying, "Here's all the things that you make money on that we don't have access to." And you'll notice that's whenever things started to release on PC that were Sony exclusives.
Yep.
Like, you're muted, Allison.
Muted. I'm sorry. I'm trying to keep my background noise from interrupting you all. Yeah, that's something that that I think the whole like the Call of Duty piece of it is just like a moot point and muddies the water when they're having the bigger conversations, because like I think it's about the cloud gaming and access and the way gaming is moving forward. Like, I think this just, in the long run, things like this will just further kill video game stores. It'll further kill. Like, I see like all these things like happening.
You're talking about physical video game stores?
Yeah, like when we start putting all these big groups into one place where it's very easily accessed cloud.
Yeah, I mean, the internet killed video game stores. It wasn't like
that is
like,
happening.
GameStop killed itself. Like
Netflix killed video stores. Like it's the same.
I know. It's just like it's interesting, and I think like these kinds of mergers have huge impacts on so many different pieces of the gaming ecosystem.
That's true.
That it has to be thought through in more than just a really linear way of these two companies combining.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that's just...
And I will say I was pretty for it, just because like I saw Blizzard Activision faltering really hard, and I was hoping that having Microsoft behind them would help stabilize them a little bit and like kind of. But now after seeing Redfall release, I'm a little like concerned, and maybe it's because they gave Bethesda a long leash, but you know what I mean? Like,
but with Redfall, that really didn't have. Microsoft had almost no skin in the game there. They did nothing aside from just say, yeah, sure, when it releases.
But they're I'm sure when you load up Redfall, it has Microsoft as part of like the publishing business.
Well, right, but also that was not like a thing whenever they acquired Bethesda, they were working on Redfall. Like that was the thing that was happening.
So but they hadn't released it yet, and they didn't need to release it in the state it was. Like I was hoping that like having Microsoft at the helm would be like they would show the game and be like, oh, this can't happen.
I need to look up a little bit more about Redfall release, because I feel like I've read a few places that that Microsoft had absolutely zero like influence.
Well, of course they're going to say that.
No, not from Microsoft. I'm like articles of like of note, you know, which is where. But I would be a very bad journalist if games like
you'd be remiss.
I would be remiss. Thank you. That's the word I couldn't remember. Thank you. I would be remiss if I did not do the research on it, because it's a lot of like I feel like I've read. I feel like a bad pundit.
Yeah.
But like, I feel like
you know what I mean though. Like I don't know. Like it can't give me. But like regardless of whether they did or didn't, the perception is, at least from my important seat right here, that it gave me less confidence that they're going to provide that structure going forward.
And Carrie said, you know, Steam was a monopoly for a little while, but now we have Epic and GOG, etc. And I mean that's true, but
they're both garbage. Well,
and they're both not great.
GOG serves a different purpose, and that's fine.
But
But
I
like
think
Epic was straight targeting Steam
Yeah.
and is not as good.
right, and I think that's kind of it. It's where I consider a monopoly somewhere where it's so financially backed that no one else can compete in that market too. And Microsoft is going to be that, where it's the Steam. It's the thing that like whenever somebody else comes in, they're already at the disadvantage, and then they don't have the money to back. Like,
but like, I mean, Blizzard used to be that, like with MMOs.
for sure. Yeah. And then there were things that came up, and that's how like markets thrive and everything. But short term, this is going to have a great impact, especially with like, I mean, this is different than just Xbox wants to buy Blizzard. This is Microsoft wants to buy Blizzard, and they own Windows, and they don't have to pay the licensing fees or adapt games in a special way to their OS. I mean, when they're doing like cloud services and things like that, like that's going to create those kinds of things for all Blizzard Activision games. And Blizzard Activision already merged into what was a huge powerhouse at that time.
Yeah, that was a big thing whenever that happened.
When that happened, people were really concerned. And obviously, like that whole landscape has changed, and they're not as concerning as they were when they first were acquisitioned. But I just think like it creates like this whole bigger topic of like, are we thinking about these things long term, and how many things they impact, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think that sorry.
No.
Just to put some perspective on things, Sony Group has a market cap, or like total valuation of about $123.5 billion. Blizzard
million with an M or billion with a B?
Billion.
Okay, thank you.
Activision Blizzard is around half that with 61.78. Microsoft is 2.37 trillion.
Yeah.
So like it's they're already in a different game. Like, you know what I mean?
It's
like,
it is very much like they are. I was going to make this reference earlier. It's like the Disney of video game companies, where Disney keeps buying up properties because they can.
Yeah.
And because they're just like, well, why not? If we can add it to our platform and like put it under our umbrella, then why not? You know?
Well, and like Activision Blizzard would be like a nice little cherry.
Yeah.
You know? Like that's a nice little gem in your crown, for sure.
And I'm not sure if I wasn't clear, because Carrie's question made me worry that I didn't state this correctly. Carrie, on what I was saying about that is they could basically make all Blizzard Activision games only work with Windows, and not work with Linux, not work with Apple, Mac OS. Like they could do that.
They
could, but they have also stated very clearly we're not going to do that, because that would also hurt the money. Like even if correct. Like
I'm just saying there's so many things that could be impacted with things like this. Like with a big company who has other hands and pots, like operating systems, taking huge chunks of gaming market. That's what I meant. So I don't think I was clear to Carrie's point. Yeah. And I know they want the money, so I'm not saying they will, but I'm saying they could. And I think those are interesting.
Well, and like Sony's just realizing that there's money on the PC platform right now. They were like, "Oh, we can make money here too."
I think they've always known it. They just it's a lot to branch.
And that's and that kind of brings up the kind of the big thing, which is where a lot of the arguments for the arguments against this, as you guys are very clearly, Allison and Chris, as you guys are very clearly stating, is like, yeah, this could have a huge effect on what people buy, what consoles they buy, what operating systems they use, what stuff they do. And that's Sony's argument. That's what the FTC is saying, and that's what the CMA is saying. Microsoft is very much giving us the impression that they don't want to do any of the stuff that all of the people are accusing them of wanting to do. They've been very forward about saying we have no plans to make again, I keep talking about Call of Duty, but that's the thing that a lot of times they're like, we have absolutely zero plans to make Call of Duty only for Microsoft stuff. We have absolutely no plans to do that. Like that,
they probably have done the math, and like they would have to sell X amount of Xboxes to make up for the loss of sales for selling to PlayStation users.
Yeah, and that's the whole reason why they're putting this 10-year deal down for people. Is just like they're just like, listen, this is if you want guarantees, this is our guarantee, and then we can revisit it later. But it's like 10 years, we're not going to do anything. It's just going to be we acquire that company, so they're now a subsidiary of Microsoft, and then go for it. You know, that's kind of the continuation of it. But
I'm just playing devil as an advocate of things that could happen if companies do these things.
That's why we're all here, isn't it? So that we can give our sides. I mean, I like to put on my corporate Dan hat and just be like, no, I get it. And honestly, I kind of do because Phil Spencer is usually like very upfront about the things that he says for the company. Brad Smith,
he's a straight shooter.
He pretty much is. I mean, he basically saved Xbox whenever he came in.
Oh yeah. He was like, "Oh, that shit's dumb. We
need to fix this. A camera for your Xbox? Get it out of there." Remember that Xbox One came with a.
I still have that.
I still have that.
Connect.
Mine turns on often downstairs.
Why do you still have it plugged in? Just unplug it.
Because I like
because I bought it. And damn it, I'm gonna use it.
I like Just Dance.
My Series X does not have that on it anymore. Thank goodness.
Yeah, I mean, and like, I want the acquisition to be good for the games that they make.
I think it's going to happen.
And like, honestly, like, I mean, I guess I'm a little bit. I think both of us, or all of us, are a little bit different in that, like, we own PS5s, and then
I don't.
PCs. You don't have a PS5 yet?
Does Fee have a PS5? What?
Interesting.
Financially, it just doesn't make sense, and the games aren't there to make me want it.
Honestly, I haven't used my PS5 in a long time.
Oh my god!
There you go, and that's why I don't know one.
All the time. I will say, from a Game Pass perspective, the PlayStation 5 Premium Pass thing versus the Xbox Game Pass.
I mean, I assume Game Pass kicks ass compared to it, right? No, really?
No, PlayStation's got way better stuff.
Wow.
Way better stuff.
But it depends on what you want too, because the Microsoft Xbox version you can play on PC, you can play on your Xbox. You have the cloud integration. You have the
Sony has that.
But I mean, on your PC you can play.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, I didn't even know that.
Cloud gaming. It's a thing now. You could plug in a controller and play PlayStation games if you have the PlayStation Premium Pass thing. So.
Yeah, see, and I mean, maybe that's their marketing, because I didn't know that. I mean, I would
terrible. Sony
very
is terrible.
Knowledgeable in the like gaming verse and news and all of that, as far as the three of us, and for those things to not be like really specified in a good way and out there. Yeah, Sony should be scared that Microsoft is taking more.
I think
they should be.
I think they should be scared, but I think they're going about it the wrong way. Is my 2 cents.
Oh yeah, they're scared and they're just grabbing at everything.
Right.
They're doing the best they can.
I mean, I get it. Like, this is the first time in a long time that like Microsoft is doing something that could actually make them scared. Because like realistically, like Xbox 360 won the first half of that generation, and then I think PS3 kind of won the second half, and then PS4 crushed.
I mean, I'm a walking example of that. Like, I was a diehard Microsoft Xbox girl.
Oh, I thought you were saying you were
PS2
you were a PlayStation. Crushed. So I was like,
PS2 absolutely crushed.
Yeah,
the original Xbox.
Oh, yeah.
But
PS2 was amazing. PS2 is probably one of the best consoles of all time.
Sega Saturn was better than the PS1.
It didn't have a DVD player.
But you're right. That is the one reason, marketing-wise, that the Saturn.
Yeah.
Well, the Saturn died, and that is one of the reasons that it died. Was like,
but the Saturn was like way more powerful, I think, than it needed to be.
It was. Yeah. It was great, though. It was so good. I just can't believe that.
That's also why Sega Saturn games look so good.
So I was like diehard Xbox, and then I moved into Saturn, and then I moved into Sony when Xbox wasn't as good as the PlayStation was, because the Saturn died. But yeah, I don't know. Like now I'm a hardcore PlayStation console fan, but I still prefer PC gaming, so I'm using Microsoft products in the end.
So we're going to circle around to kind of our final thought here, which was the initial question that we asked at the beginning of the podcast. Is it a good thing that Microsoft wants to buy Activision Blizzard? And I'm going to go to Chris first because he's got the shit-eating grin, because I know what he's going to say. Chris?
Maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, at first I was all for it, like I said, and I'm not sure anymore. Redfall kind of rocked my confidence in that. At least from a consumer's perspective, is this something that I want? From me as a consumer, do I care about the competition aspect? No, I don't, because I have a PS5 and I have a computer. So like, regardless of what happens, I'm going to be able to play whatever they're going to be putting out. And also, I don't really care that much about Call of Duty. But from a business perspective, I do understand why Sony is pitching a fit about it. But I feel like there are ways, like there are things that can be done to say, okay, like to guarantee that they have 10 years and then a chance to re-up after that. Like there are ways to go around, like, to be about that. And I feel like a lot of it right now is just marketing and trying to like, it's just poo flinging, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like there are ways to say, okay, Microsoft, if you don't allow this to happen for 10 years, like if you go back on that, or like if you create a game that's Ball of Booty, that is like the same game but with a different name.
Ball of Booty. It's only anime girls.
Yeah.
Just throw. It's like Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, except instead it's dodgeball.
It'll be Genshin Impact Ball of Booty, and everyone will love it. It'll be fine.
But like, you know what I mean? Say like, okay, if you make a first person shooter that is high paced Twitch, like arena style game, you have to release it for both platforms or something. Like basically like Call of Duty or something like Call of Duty. You cannot just keep on your own platform for 10 years. And like, instead of just complaining about it and being like, oh, well, that's not how it's supposed to be, like, just do something about it. Like,
do something.
Make an agreement if that's your actual concern.
Dan, you go next.
Well, Chris, I do have to apologize because I did look up some stuff about Redfall. Phil Spencer did claim full responsibility for the poor launch of Redfall, mostly because, and in his words, he said, we acquired it, like that game was halfway through development when they acquired Bethesda.
Still looks like
Arcane
it's halfway
Studios.
through development.
Well, and he just says we didn't give them the support that we should have whenever that happened. Mainly, he said that they announced 60 frames per second and it didn't ship with 60 frames per second. So, and that's like one of the things.
Yeah, that was the problem.
Well, there's a lot more problems than that, but it is just like, whenever Spencer says, when we acquire studios, there are games that are in development, and then there's things that are either really early in development or not even conceived yet. I think we need to improve in engaging with games that are midway through production when they become part of Xbox.
I appreciate that
I think Phil Spencer's
that's a good boss right there. Actually.
Like he really is like the kind of CEO that you need, is someone who's willing to take responsibility for stuff that is
I'd say
probably,
and especially
like
it looks great for him. He loses nothing, and like it looks great for him. Like 100%. Like, because that's like, oh, that's a boss I want to work for. He takes ownership of mistakes.
But I'm going to answer my own question that I put at the beginning of the podcast. I think of it more of an oversight sort of way. I think it would be a good thing, particularly because Activision and Blizzard have a very rocky
past decade.
I mean, not even past decade, the past decade, and of course all the allegations from people up at the top of the company. I feel like they need people above them to make the changes for the people lower in the company to be able to work in an environment that's not toxic and or full of harassment. And I think that takes a company with as much oversight as Microsoft would have to make those changes, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I mean, that's my 2 cents. And also, I don't know. I don't care. Like, they could do it. They could not. I'm still going to play Warzone with my brothers. It doesn't matter. You know, it's like, it's going to happen, you know? So whatever happens, going to happen. But I just want that.
Well, and you know, maybe that'll force Sony to create something really cool to compete with it. Yeah.
That's the avenue they should be going down. Is trying to,
or maybe they'll buy EA. Who knows? Who knows? All right, Allison.
So I know I've said a lot, but like from the acquisition standpoint and Blizzard, Microsoft, I think it'll be fine. Like, yeah. I think Blizzard, Activision will win. Microsoft will win. As a consumer, I don't think I'm going to be impacted at all. So,
and I think I would like to put out the caveat that we're in a very unique place. Not everyone is like us and has computers and
PlayStations and Xboxes. And
I don't have a PS5. I still don't feel like
you have a PS4, right?
Oh yeah, I do have that.
But like what I'm saying is like not everyone has multiple.
Sure, yeah.
To play video games like we do.
So maybe a big Call of Duty player would feel like this could impact them greatly. Although Microsoft again has said they're not going to do that. But yeah, from my standpoint, in that sense, I don't think I'm going to be impacted. But I don't like it, and I don't want it from the big picture standpoint. Like, I just think it's a slippery slope, like I said. I just don't want a world where Amazon owns every piece of every market.
Well, this is
just because Microsoft. It's not Amazon, but I mean it's a similar idea.
It's symbolism, Chris. What's the symbology there?
Like Amazon, I don't know, going and deciding that they want to. What's something Amazon absolutely doesn't do at all? Name something. They want to. They don't do much, do they?
Well, I was about to say something related to D&D, but they own Twitch.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. This makes this comparison hard. But that's the kind of comparison I'm trying to make.
I guess Wizards of the Coast owns D&D.
I think they did used to own D&D Beyond.
I don't know. They're partnered, something like that. But anyway. Regardless.
Okay. I don't want Amazon to go out and say, I'm acquiring Oral-B. This is the best comparison I can make. I'm acquiring Oral-B. And you go, that's not a big deal. Who cares? But Oral-B is like the biggest toothbrush on the market, right? That's the one everybody knows. Can you name another toothbrush company?
You don't want an Alexa powered
Colgate's toothpaste.
Yeah, they also make toothbrushes.
They make toothbrushes.
But I don't think they're as big as Oral-B. This is going to be my comparison. Deal with it. Okay, so Colgate is Sony. Chris. Colgate is Sony. That's my comparison stance. I don't want Amazon to go, we're acquiring Oral-B, and then have places concerned that Oral-B, like as a consumer, maybe Oral-B is only going to be sold on Amazon now. So I have to buy it from Amazon. Maybe they say they won't, but maybe in 10 years they will. And that's the only place I can get my favorite toothbrush. And that's a concern that people can have. And in the long run, it really impacts market share, people being able to access this device. This is like, I know, a very bad comparison, but it's the best I can do.
No, it's a good comparison. I like it. It makes sense to me.
A very strict mental.
I'm not that particular about my my toothbrushes.
So. No, but you are about video games.
Listen, 4 out of 5 dentists recommend the GameBrew Podcast. I just want to say that. You know.
Oh, Sonic. There you go. Sonic can be Sony. The Sonic vibrating.
I do like my Sonic hair.
I didn't even.
I'm pretty sure my brush is either from Colgate or Oral-B. I can't remember.
Do you think that if Sega acquired Sonic, they would make a Sonic spin brush, and whenever
they absolutely would.
Whenever you start it,
Sonic
it goes
or the company Sonic Fast Food also needs to sell a toothbrush and needs to have their spokesperson Sonic.
Like that.
That's what I want. That's what I want.
But what I'm trying to say is, as a analytical, anxiety-ridden, concerned individual about big pictures, those are things I think about.
Oh, yeah. No, 100%.
When we get to a Wall-E universe where we're controlled by these big giants and they own too much. And that's how I view this.
That's capitalism, baby.
I hate it. I know. I need to move out of the United States. You have no idea. I was literally just talking about capitalism and how it's just ruining my life the other day.
Oh, you're not gonna get away from capitalism by moving out of the United States. I hate to tell you that, but
in a small way, I will.
Capitalism.
It's not as bad. It's not as bad as it is in Western society. But I digress. My point is,
piles of money.
My point is, I think this merger is bad in a lot of ways, just from a more like global, not global. What's the word I'm looking for? From a more like panned out perspective, I guess.
Okay.
A macro perspective.
Yeah, and when I'm looking at this as a merger, I don't care. It's fine. I think only good things will come out of it for the company themselves. But I think from a large perspective, things like this are concerning, and I think that China approving it, EU approving it, everybody else approving it, and only a couple companies going, but and only those couple of companies really bringing these concerns to the table.
Sony bringing that concern to the table as the main loser. Of course they are.
Of course they are. Not Sony. I'm not worried about Sony. Like the UK blocking it for the reasons of like, hey, this could be a monopoly because of cloud-based issues, and here's what we're looking at. Here's the data. I see that and I get it. And the United States looking at it in the same way and saying we're going to try to block it, but we don't really have a way to very well. So it's probably going to go through. Like looking at those things, it's like in the end, what stops some of these companies from owning everything? And that's what I think about.
Sure. And there are things that can, like, just because they join doesn't mean they can't be busted again. Like if it becomes a monopoly, they can still be busted, like taken apart again. Like in ad tech right now, Google is being looked at as a monopoly and potentially going to be split apart.
Right, but it's harder to
Probably won't, but
it's harder to do on the back end, and the odds of that happening are so slim because after something's already come together,
because of money,
splitting it apart, it's going to be very hard. Carrie brings a good point. She said, "Sonic drive-through minute clinic. Hey, it might bring back clinics to rural places. Dairy Queen might get a clinic for rural areas. Get a free dude burger with your birth control." You got a point. Maybe
I want some birth control so I get my free dude burger.
You know what? If Amazon went, I want to buy Planned Parenthood and make sure it stays here.
Oh God.
Maybe I'd be for that. I'd be for that. But that's not what we're talking about. So never mind.
But I mean, I think that there are ways to put checks in place if they really wanted to make this work and really try it, that they could. But I feel like Sony is just doing a lot of screeching because they don't like it.
Yes. You're probably right. So to recap the the final questions, we've got a maybe from Chris, a yes from Dan,
for the huge,
and a
very complicated response from Allison.
A very complicated no-ish, an ish no from Allison.
The answer is no, I don't think there's a problem with the merger, but yes, I think ultimately these kinds of mergers are a problem. So that is my answer.
So the question was, is it a good thing for Microsoft wants to buy Activision Blizzard? No, is the answer, is the short answer from Allison. with a asterisk at the end.
Yeah, with an asterisk.
No asterisk. Because Chang's been cheating the whole time. Sorry, I've been watching Community. I watched Community from the beginning again.
There's one episode you cannot watch.
Which one?
It's the D&D episode.
What?
It's not on Netflix.
I think it is.
Nope.
I watched a D&D episode of it. Maybe it was one of the later seasons.
The second one.
Oh, okay.
First
gotcha.
Because the first, like the one where what's his name is going to commit suicide, and they do the D&D episode.
I don't remember. I don't remember what season that's in.
But they don't, because Chang is basically in blackface as a drow.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So you can't watch that episode anymore on Netflix.
Makes sense. So that's it. Those are our opinions. Thank you for listening to them.
Thank you for listening for an hour and 40 minutes.
No, thank you for listening to the podcast. But I would just like to point out that I love having Allison on the podcast, because you and Chris talking about stuff is so much more well thought out and eloquent than anything me and Chris talk about. So,
but look at how concise you guys are able to be and on time. And then
we're not on time at all. No, there's never a time. The episodes have no regular length.
So if you think about it, like each of us are about like 35 minutes that we each talk, and so we just added a third person that was also talking 35 minutes instead of like
that's exactly
carrying
what
it down.
needs.
We didn't know.
All right. So that is the that is the end of the podcast part of the Twitch stream here. So everybody, welcome back Allison, who we have missed terribly.
Huzzah!
I got a few like Instagram messages, Allison, on the GameBrew Instagram.
Aww,
of
really?
people being like, what's up with Allison? I was like, she was taking some personal time. So there were some people who were asking about you.
Well, thanks everybody. I'm okay. I definitely needed like some turtle time, is what I call it.
Some time away from us.
Turtle.
Not you guys in particular, and not you guys as an audience. I just needed like time for me to get my head straight. So thanks for letting me have it, boys. I know I thanked you already, but thanks audience also for letting me have it and being concerned. Thank you. I missed those messages. I think I've been logged out of everything on somehow.
No, that's okay. Well, probably because I had to log into everything.
Yes, you had to log into everything. I'm sorry.
There.
I'll get back into it, and I'll say hi to everybody.
But thank you so much for being back here with us, Allison. We love you so much.
It's a treat for sure.
A treat. And so now we're gonna do the thing at the end of the episode where we talk about stuff to plug. So Chris, do you have anything to plug this week?
4X games, they're fun. Try them.
4X games, they're fun. Try them. Allison, do you have anything you want to plug?
No, I'm glad to be back, and eventually I'll start streaming myself again. This is step 1, and I'll get to step 2 later.
Yes, the most important step.
Yes, the most one. And all of the things for us is number 1. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. If you are watching us on Twitch, please remember to follow and subscribe to it. You can also listen to the audio version of the podcast, which releases most of the time. Our host for the podcast is a little weird. Sometimes I post stuff and it doesn't go out. So
on Libsyn.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening, but it's just a little wonky sometimes. They did an update to their stuff, so the last episode we recorded actually hasn't been posted yet because it didn't do it. So I'm going to be doing that tomorrow again to verify it's through there. So that'll be the last episode. And if you like listening to it, Pip is building Bowser soon, and she watched both Mario movies.
I still need to watch the second one now I can stream, but I
Where
did watch.
Where did you guys find the Mario movie to stream?
The first one?
The first one.
Do you know Bill Dozer?
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a server that I use.
Because I couldn't find it anywhere. I was curious.
It's on. There's some places on the internet. Just got to raise a flag for it, if you know what I'm saying. So
Thanks,
yes,
Carrie.
Carrie has ways. But
Need it.
so those are things to look forward to. But please, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do that. Leave us a 5-star review. If you do, we love you immensely.
If you leave us anything less,
that's fine too.
That's fine too, I guess. But
no, we don't love you then. If you want our love, it's fine.
But it's the GameBrew Podcast on everything. At the GameBrew on all the social medias. You can send us emails to thegamebrew@gmail.com. Just stay tuned for stuff to come up there. You can go to our Discord, bit.ly/discobrew. If you want to come hang out with us, Will gives us gives us updates on what it's like to be a dad gamer a lot, or like remind us that he has a lot of cool technology that he notices little intricacies about, and then asks us questions about that none of us can relate to.
Oh man!
But it's great.
Are we doing Fall Guys?
Oh, we're gonna be doing Fall Guys. Yes.
Tonight.
Yes. So we're gonna do that. Do you not have it updated?
No, I do. I'm in there and I'm looking in the shop. They have a Macho Man Randy Savage skin.
Oh snap! That's
they
amazing.
have a Mankind
Chris,
one.
Hold on, Chris. Wait. The first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna end the podcast the way that we always end the podcast, which is by saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.